Hey guys, Ryan here. This is a post-editing Ryan here actually. Before we get into this very long video, I just want to say there's going to be no gameplay here. Excuse me. I do say that in this video. And I just want you to know, I know a lot of you may already know this information. And if you do, just feel free not to watch the video. I'm obviously perfectly okay with that. I don't mind that. This is more of an educational video for anyone who does need it. There are going to be, and I do say this in the video, but just so you know now, there will be timestamps in the description. So if you know about equipment, you can then go see timestamp for where the consumables are, where the commanders are. So if anyone just want to skip through to that particular part of the video, feel free to skip through. I know these longer videos aren't as popular, but you know, if even one person learns anything from this, I'm happy with the video. And again, for those who don't want to watch it, I understand, and I will have gameplay back up and running again tomorrow. So, thanks for watching, hope you guys understand, and yeah, for any of you who do keep watching, enjoy the video. Hey guys, Ryan here, and today I'm going to bring you a bit of a different video. There's going to be no gameplay in this one. So what happened is, someone commented, Jim Williams, that he would like some more information from people who make content on this game about the new commander system, equipment, consumables, etc, etc. And I agree with him that information is very useful. I just usually think of myself as not being the right guy to give that, because I'm always worried that if I give you wrong information, then after that won't be great. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to make this video, and I'm going to go through commanders, consumables, equipment, and maybe briefly touch on the ammo. I'm going to do them in different segments, and I'm going to have timestamps in the description telling you what part of the content is where. So if you look in the description, you might see they'll say 1 minute 30 to 5 minutes 60 is consumables, and then 5 minute 40 to 10 minutes is equipment, if you know what I mean. So you get the idea. I know this is going to go. I'm doing this all live in the garage, as you can see. Just because I thought the best way of doing this just be to go in the garage and just do it all live, so I can actually move through the garage and show you guys what I'm talking about and show you the commanders and the equipment and all that. Now, for those of you who've been subscribed for a while, you may know that because I've got to talk for a bit, I have no idea how long this video will be, and I may start rambling, but you've been subscribed for a while, you'll all know that rambling's just what I do. So, what I'm going to do is, and I think it's probably the more sought after information, I'm going to start with commanders. Now, I should just mention, because I don't know how long this video is going to take, and I might be talking for a while, I've got a drink next to me. If you hear me drinking from that, I apologise. I'll try and remember to mute myself. But it could be a bit longer video, so I've just got a drink here because my throat gets a little bit parched. So, we just go across to commanders. You see they've got this new system with all these different crews laid out like this. And on the right hand side you will see the crew skills you've got, how many, the tank that it's in at the bottom, the top of the screen above the skills where it says IS7 there, mine, that's the name of your crew. So I, the night before the update, changed the name of all my crews to what tanks they're meant to be in. And you just scroll through as such, and as you can see I've got a few crews I've not actually put, a few commanders shall I say, I've not actually put skills on yet. So that's actually a good thing for me, because what it means is I can actually show you me putting skills on a tank. Something else I have to mention is that what I'm going to do in terms of the commanders is I'm going to discuss all the skills and how they work, and then I'm going to show you some personal examples of some of the tanks I use and what skills I use and why. Because I sometimes use skills on a tank that other people may not use. And then obviously it's personal preference, but there's some skills that are pretty much just a given on all vehicles. So, obviously the biggest change was all commanders now can only have a maximum of 9 skills. That's one of the biggest changes. But all the crew skills, some got removed and some actually got made better. Or most of the crew skills got made better, so they have more of an effect. So the example I'm going to give is that Born Leader, which is the previous Brothers in Arms, that gives a 10% increase to skill effectiveness and crew performance. That used to be a 5% increase. If we look at the view range skill here, there used to be 2 view range skills. Situational awareness would give you 3% view range, and recon would give you 2% view range for a maximum of 5. Now there's one skill that gives 6% more view range. So all the skills have been made better. If you click to go onto the skills, you'll see there are 3 pages of skills. And I'm going to talk through them now from the beginning. We'll start page 1. First skill. Now, bear in mind, I want you all to know, I've not actually started training a crew yet. I've just been using crews I already had with skills. So, I'm not too sure what the crew training grind is like. Now, quick learner, this is the mentor skill from before, where you get more commander XP and therefore learn crew skills faster. I never used this skill before update 6.0, and I still don't now. Especially since, something I want you all to know is, previously, if you wanted to change a crew skill on your tank for something else, it would cost you 10 gold. So like 10 gold per skill. Now, if you want to change a skill, you have to respec the full amount, so 90 gold for 10 each for the 9 skills. So you can't just change one skill for 10 gold. If you like have one skill you want to change, you have to pay the full 90 to change everything. Which is very, very annoying. If I'm honest, sometimes I accidentally click the wrong skill and I just want to change it for 10 gold, but you can't. So, quick learner, probably one used by a lot of people, especially when you're just getting your crew started, but not for me. Now, born leader, this is increased the skill effectiveness and crew performance. Now, what that means is, if we go over to this accuracy skill, the reload skill, the view range skill, all the things that have actual effects on your tank, that will make it better. So if you've got the view range one that gives you 6% more view range, Born Leader, also known as Brothers in Arms, will actually increase the amount of view range you get ever so slightly. So that's a kind of also a given skill for everything, because again, Born Leader will improve your reload, it'll improve your accuracy, it'll improve your aim time, it'll improve most things in your tank. So another kind of skill that is kind of a skill I use on most vehicles. We then have Last Stand, 25% increase to crew performance when under 10% health. Now, this is just basically like a supercharged Brothers in Arms. I would not recommend anyone using this, because the only real use you're going to get out of it is if you're a skilled player. The reason I say that is, if you're a skilled player and say an Object 140, and you get to the end of the game, you're the last guy left, you're on low hit points, that 25% increase to crew performance could be the difference between you carrying and not carrying, but you have to be able to survive on low hit points. So for less skilled players who may not be as adept at relocating around the map, using positions and camo to not get shot at, that skill probably won't get you much use. But if you're a skilled player, you might actually be able to make use of this. Potentially, but I still wouldn't recommend it, but you can use it in those situations. Now, one of the more controversial skills, rapid loading. Why is this controversial? It's basically another gun rammer. So I've got a gun rammer on my 140, and then I've got this as well. And the other issue is, this could be put onto artillery as well. And obviously, because it's a percentage-based increase, the longer the base reload, the more of an increase you get, if that makes sense. But even more so than artillery, I actually don't think that's the main issue with this skill. The main thing that's got people talking is the fact that this skill can often be used on autoloaders. Because autoloaders cannot use a gun rammer, but they can use this skill, which is basically a gun rammer. And to give a bit of perspective here, the Batchat 25T, Tier 10 French medium tank, that had a 41-second reload fully equipped before update 6.0, and now I'm down to about a 35-second reload, thanks to rapid loading. So again, that's a skill, rapid loading, you're pretty much going to want to take on all your vehicles, because it's just a gun rammer, and it even works on autoloaders, which can't have a gun rammer. So this skill, rapid loading, is one you're going to want on everything. Now, I just want to mention real quick, the order with which you get these skills is down to personal preference. So even though I think everyone should have rapid loading on all tanks, if you want to get it first, you want to wait till later, is up to you. Now, Adrenaline Rush, 50% increase to gun reload speed when under 10% health. If you had this and that active, the Last Stand with the Adrenaline Rush, that could be kind of nuts, especially in something like a 140, as I said, something that already has inherently high base DPM. Again, I don't recommend it for anyone. And even if you do want to try around with it, I recommend you be a bit more of a skilled player, because obviously if you're under 10% hit points, you need to know how to survive. And again, as I stated earlier, that means being able to relocate, knowing map positions, knowing how to use bush mechanics for camouflage, etc, etc. Now, Iron Mace. Now, the other interesting thing they did with commanders is all the unique commander skills that they had before 6.0 that came with like premium tanks. Like there's the one that came with the Craft Panther, one that came with the, I believe this came with the Bogatir KV220. They can now be used on any tank. So Iron Mace has 25% decrease to the affected distance held on shell penetration. Again, not a skill I'd ever use on anything, but could have its effects. Now, light tanks have exceptionally high shell penetration drop-off, the tier 10 ones do, so it could be useful in some of those, and again, I think most people think of TDs when they think of this. But overall, again, not too useful a skill that, in my opinion. Deadeye, again, just more percentage chance of damaging the enemy crew modules. Again, not a skill I would recommend you guys use. Gunsmith, 30% increase to accuracy of a damaged gun. Now, I don't use this on anything, but this could have its uses, because there are some vehicles in the game that get their gun damaged a lot more than others. For example, E3, IS-7, Kranwagen, these kind of very thickly armoured hull-down tanks. A lot of the time, people just fire HE at you and try and shoot you in the turret, and they just break your gun all the time. So that skill, Gunsmith, could have its uses for you if you find yourself constantly getting your gun broken. Now, Rapid Aim, 10% increase to turret and gun rotation speed. This is another interesting one that I've not actually... I might have on one vehicle. I think what it is that this is a skill I wouldn't recommend on most vehicles. And it's just a bit of a meme build, but I think I tried this on the Hellcat, or the Hellcat 105. Tier 6 tank destroyer with very slow turret traverse. You can also try it on your super heavies, like the E100, the Mouse, the Type 5, all those tanks that have the really slow turret traverses. And I was actually even potentially thinking about putting it on the Object 268 version 5, the new turreted TD we got, because that has a very slow turret traverse as well. Now, another skill that I'd recommend for most vehicles, steady aim, just straight up accuracy increase. This is one of the skills that is allowing people to get the really good accuracy, as well as the equipment page we'll get to later. Now, of course, some vehicles you already have insane accuracy, so you might not need to put this and you'll have room for another perk, but this is a skill that is very, very useful, especially since when you're fighting higher tier tanks, when +2, -2 comes back, having the accuracy to actually hit where you're aiming, to hit the weak points of vehicles, is going to be instrumental. For example, my tier 6 tanks will have this skill, which should hopefully make it easier to fight defenders, because their cupolas on the defenders are only 150mm thick. The issue before was just hitting the cupola in my tier 6 tanks. So steady aim, another kind of go-to skill on most vehicles. And now we've got Snapshot, 12% increase to accuracy during turret rotation. This is a skill I use on a lot of vehicles, heavies and mediums, and lights, because when I'm playing these kind of tanks, basically what happens is you go to the ridge line and you're moving backwards and forwards, turning your turret to try and find shots, and you're trying to snap shots in as quick as possible because you don't want to keep yourself as exposed or exposed for as long, because they might get a shot into you. So I find these accuracy skills quite useful. We have actually on the move, which I didn't get, but that's because I would like that skill. I might do a bit of tweaking on the crew skills, but I already had other skills I wanted to use. Clutch braking, increase the vehicle hull rotation speed. Now, this is again one I'm not sure I'd recommend for people. You could try it on your super heavies, like the Mouse, the E100, Type 5. I might use it on E50M when I get it, and the E50 Tier 9 when I get it fully upgraded, and the machine. But that's only because, not because I think it's a completely competitive skill, though it is very useful. Because I like ramming people, having that extra maneuverability left and right when people try to dodge you could be nice. So I'm not saying get this skill, but if you like ramming people in tanks like the E50 and the machine, especially the machine which turns rather slow, this skill could be for you. Off-road driving, increased handling on soft terrain and moderately soft terrain. Again, I wouldn't use it on out because there's other skills I prioritize, but again, you could use it if you wish, if you're finding yourself a bit slow on certain maps. Trick driving, which is the parachute thing, I just don't use. Wouldn't recommend it. Then we get to some more important skills, and that is the camouflage skills. Useful on many vehicles. Now, silent driving, you'll see I've actually got this on my 140. 55% decrease to the effect of driving on your vehicle's camouflage factor. Ineffective on light vehicles, so don't make the mistake of using this on light tanks. And that's because light tanks already have the same camouflage when driving as they do when stationary. That's why this skill doesn't work on them. Now, the reason I use this skill is because any extra 1 or 2 seconds you can get unspotted driving to location before you get spotted could be the difference between getting to location and not getting there. And you get loads of assistance and not getting loads of assistance. This skill is so good, in fact, that I actually use it on some heavy tanks, which I'll actually show you later. But very useful skill, this, especially for medium tanks, and even on some TDs I would reckon as well. Excuse me. Now, camouflage expectation is a straight 10% increase to your vehicle's camouflage factor. Again, you're going to want this on your light tank, you're going to want this on some of your TDs, and you're going to want this on most of your mediums, in my opinion. I put a lot of emphasis on camo because camouflage kind of goes hand in hand with spotting. If you've got good view range, you can spot people at long distance. If you don't have better camo, that means you can get slightly closer with your good view range without them spotting you back, and you can make more use of your view range. So you see, the view range and the camouflage do go hand in hand, and that's why I kind of like to use camouflage on a lot of vehicles. Muffled shot, 35% decrease to the effect of firing on your vehicle's camo factor. This could be useful on some TDs and some other vehicles, but for a majority of players, this skill isn't too useful, because if you know how to use bush mechanics, this skill's kind of irrelevant anyway. If you back up 15 meters behind a bush so you can't see through it anymore and then shoot, you're not going to get spotted, irrelevant of what your camo factor drops to. Although I think I used this on the E25 just for memes. So on an E25, definitely take this skill. And really, you'd only ever use this on some TDs. Green Thumb, increased vehicle's camo factor when in foliage. This again could be... It could be a good skill on light tanks if you do your passive scouting, on some TDs like STRVs and Gorillas if you go to like the bushes a lot. I wouldn't use it on mediums. I do use bushes in medium tanks, but the increase to camo factor when in them, I just don't think it's work compared to other skills. Sixth Sense. This is one of the most important skills in the entire game. It is always either my first or my second skill. If I'm getting a heavy tank, I usually have it as my second. I get repairs first, but on most other vehicles, Sixth Sense is always first, because knowing when you've been spotted is very important, because you can use that information to try and guess where the enemies are. So you could side trip a corner, and even though you can't see around the corner, your Sixth Sense will go off, so you know there's an enemy around there. Alternatively, you're in a field, you're driving, you get spotted, you know you've got cover to your right, which means he can only be to your left, kind of thing. Like, you get what I'm saying. So Sixth Sense, you want it on most vehicles, almost all of them. I use it on everything. And as I said, always my first or second skill. This just works exactly the same as previous Sixth Sense. Then, situational awareness, as I said before, 6% increase to max view range. I use this on most vehicles. Medium tanks, obviously, light tanks, obviously, a lot of heavy tanks, even some TDs, I use this. So, view range, important, but I really value view range on a lot of vehicles. Now, Comms Technician, 30% increase to radio range and increase in radio range nearby allies. Not a skill I'd ever use. I don't recommend it. Mark Target, I'm not going to lie, I'm not fully aware how this skill works. 3 seconds increase to duration of a targeted enemy's detection time. That could be useful. Maybe for a light tank. You get in the bush, your passive spot, and you spot an enemy and you aim at him. Maybe he stays spotted for longer. So that skill could have its uses for a light tank. Medium tanks could also use it as well, but I'd say there's other skills to use. Supply conservation, 50% increase consumer recharge speed. Not something I'd ever use, but you might find it useful. Firefighting, again, quite a useful skill. But the issue is, with now the fact you've only got 9 skills that you can have on a tank, I'm a bit more hesitant to use it over other skills. But, you know, if you've got an FE215B, then firefighting is definitely what you want. Fire prevention, again, I wouldn't use it on a lot of time because it takes up just one or too many slots. Now that you've only got 9 crew skills, that's the point I'm trying to get to. If I can only have 9 skills, there's a lot of skills I just don't use anymore. And fire prevention, again, if you're using FE215B, might be useful at the same time. Like, that thing's just going to get set on fire. Even with this skill, it's not going to do much for you, so I wouldn't bother with it. Ammo rack durability, again, not something that I use, but there are a lot of vehicles out there that get ammo racked all the time. Super Conqueror, Chieftain, 5A. If you find yourself getting ammo racked all the time with that tank that's really annoying you, maybe this is the skill for you. Now, here's one of the new ones, Armor Angling, 5% decrease in damage received. You could use this on mediums, and you could use this on, obviously, your heavy tanks. Again, it is a nice skill to have, but in my opinion, I don't use it on most vehicles, again, because there's other skills that I want. Controlled Impact, I don't recommend you use the skill. I do on a fair few vehicles, just because I like memeing with the ramming, so I use it on... I've got it on the E50, I'm going to have it on the E50, I've got it on the Machine, FCM50T, KV5, obviously, only use this for vehicles you want to ram in, and even then, if you're playing an E50, just because you can ram, doesn't mean you have to use the skill if you want to play a bit more competitive. I just like to have it for fun, basically. Pain tolerance, decreased chance of crew injury. This could actually be fairly useful to some people. Again, it's not a skill I'd recommend you take. And then you get General Mechanic for 10% increase to repair speed of all damage modules, and Track Mechanic. Now, I've actually, since Update 6.0, stopped using repairs, because I used to get repairs and Track Mechanic. And I've stopped using repairs and kind of just gone for Track Mechanic now. Because with me side scraping and getting tracks blown off, that's the only real thing I need to get fixed straight away. Because if you get tracked in the field by artillery, you don't have a repair kit, you want your tracks to repair quicker. And this will give you faster repair speed than the General Mechanic will. Now, of course, you have both of them even better, but it's just picking the right skills for you, and it can be quite hard to do. Now, what I'm going to do is, I'll just go over the full amount of skills I've got on the 140, and then I'll show you my skill setup on a heavy tank and a TD, for example, and a light tank. So, 6th Sense, as I said, I use this on pretty much everything. Track Mechanic, I use pretty much everything. Born Leader, rapid loading, again, on everything. The aim speed, some tanks you don't need this on everything. You could probably actually drop it if you're actually good enough. But on medium tanks, I like to have the accuracy because you're snapshot. So that's why I've got accuracy with the snapshot skill. Again, just trying to make sure I can make use of my DPM and hit the shots. Silent driving to allow me to get to position easier for spotting purposes. View range, again, for spotting purposes. And then I've actually got camouflage expertise because, as I said, that also fits into the spotting with the view range skills. So that's my 140 build. And kind of my general medium tank build. If we go to one of my heavy tanks, just scroll across. I do not know where my IS-7 crew is, so if I scroll through here, look at the top right. There's my IS-7 crew, he's in my stockade. So what I use on the IS-7, again, you're going to see the same skills, the same 4 skills that I had on the T-62A. 6th Sense, Track Mechanic, Rapid Loading, Frozen Arms. Got them on everything. Situational awareness I use in the IS-7 as well. Snapshot, because obviously with the IS-7 it's got a very strong turret, so you want to like hold down and move your turret to aim at people. I do use armor angling on this, on the IS-7. And as you'll see, on a heavy tank I use silent driving. That's because the IS-7, like a 5A or 113, is a reasonably mobile heavy tank. So I can try and get to some pretty interesting locations and aggressive locations in it to try and get some spotting. And that extra camo, over 55% whilst moving, could be the difference between me getting to the hull down cover where I can spot everyone, or getting spotted just before I get there and getting shit on by 3 tier 10 TDs. And then I've got the accuracy for the IS-7 crew. Now, here's my tier 100 LT crew, my light tank crew, again, 6th Sense, rapid loading. I don't have the accuracy skill on it. I do have view range, obviously. Snapshot, because the tier 1 LT is infamous for its on-the-move accuracy anyway, so I thought, why not make it a bit better? Although, alternatively, you could say it's infamous for its on-the-move accuracy. You don't need to use this skill, you can use something else. Run and gun for more accuracy when moving, because I made a mistake. Snapshots for when I'm turning the turret whilst moving. Camouflage, camo and foliage, track mechanic, and then muffled shot. So I do actually use muffled shot on the T100 LT. Now, if I find a TD crew, oh, let's see. I'll try and find my. There we go. My Object 268, which is currently my 268 V5. Again, you're going to see same skills: Sixth Sense, Track Mechanic, Rapid Loading, and Born Leader, as well as the Sixth Sense. Accuracy for my TD. Again, silent driving, because this is a fast vehicle, so if I can get to location, and while I'm relocating and trying to run away, having that camo could be the difference. Camo and foliage, and camo expertise. Although what I'm probably going to do is, I'm probably going to get rid of green thumb at one point, and replace it with something else. I'm not sure what yet. And now, just because, I'll actually show you a initial setup. So I'll go back to that Trinity crew. In fact, no, here's my crown bargain. So, here's what I'm going to do. I scroll through and instantly, Sixth Sense. Always get that on every tank. Track Mechanic, I always get that on every tank. View Range, I got on every tank, well, most tanks. Rapid Loading, Born Leader. So you don't need the View Range, but definitely Rapid Loading. And you don't even really need Born Leader, but as I said, Born Leader will help with the reload. So if you've got the reload skill, if you've got the view range skill, it will help with all that. Then what do I want? Again, the Crown Wagon is a very fast, heavy tank, so I want to have silent driving to let me get to position a bit quicker. Accuracy, because it's a bit derpy, and because this is another hold down tank where you move the turret a lot, when you're basically invincible hold down, I'm going to get increased accuracy during turret traverse. And then as the last thing, I could go with a base camo boost. Alternatively, this thing's gun does get damaged a lot because when you're hold up, people like to shoot you. And I could go turret and gun rotation speed. Quite interesting for the last skill. You know what? I'm actually gonna try the yeah, I'll go with turret traverse speed. But you'll see that, like, pretty much at the start of every vehicle, it's just Sixth Sense, repairs, view range, rapid loading, brothers and arms. So, that may have taken a while. I understand that. There was a lot of crew skills. You only have 9 to choose from. It is quite annoying. Now, what I want to show you is... someone said about how, and I believe it was Jim again, said about how you can see view range, skills and equipment affecting your stats. So what I'm going to do is, I have 1.5 million silver. I'm going to spend all of that on, let's say, go to filters. I'm going to talk about equipment next. No, this is a mess of a video, by the way. I am going to talk about equipment next, but I shall talk about it on, let's see, I just want to go back to tier 10s again. So, I go back to the 140 since that's what I used to show the commanders with. Press square on your 140. You get to this screen, equipment and consumables. So I'm going to start with the equipment. You have 3 equipment slots as you did before up to 6.0, and then you've got a 4th one that comes with standard, the enhanced target info. This is the outline of the target and the penetration chance. Color thing you always got from before 6.0. Now, as to why they made that 4th skill, I don't know. You can get rid of it and place it with something else. I don't recommend it. Now, I never used the penetration chance thing anyway, but the outline of a target is exceptionally useful. Alternatively, you could try any of the other skills, but I just wouldn't recommend dropping that skill. So anyway, we'll get to it. Advanced repair system for more repair time. I wouldn't really use it on higher tier vehicles. You might be able to get away with it on lower tier ones. Spall liner, again, I use this for, only really use it for ramming vehicles like my machine, my E50. Alternatively, if you like your mouse and you get hit by artillery a lot, this could be the one for you. Advanced optics, this is a equipment piece I use in a lot of stuff, just 10% view range increase. Which you want on most vehicles, light tanks, some TDs, medium tanks. Now, something there's a note is you get advanced concealment here, which reduces your detectability. I have no idea by how much, because it doesn't say. However, something to note is there are no more binoculars or camo net where you have to stay still for 3 seconds for them to activate. The coated optics now and the concealment thing both just are active passively all the time. You don't have to stay still for these. But the camo is useful in a lot of TDs. You could do it on a couple medium tanks if you wanted, on your light tanks, potentially. I wouldn't recommend it on your medium tanks, but you could do it. Advanced spreads for track durability, again, I wouldn't really recommend that. Improved ventilation. Now, this is one where it's an interesting one. This is very useful because this will buff, again, your crew skills like before. So if you had your Brothers in Arms skill and like your rapid loading skill, this will make your view range a little bit better, make your reload a little bit better. Only by a little bit, but it does help your tank. Then we have Advanced Loader. Now, obviously, this piece of equipment, without fail, on every tank it can go on, you do put it on. So Advanced Loader, which is the gun rammer, put this on everything you can. You then get the Advanced Gun Lane Drive for aiming speed. Now, this is one you don't want to use too often, but I use it on some large caliber guns. Like, I've got it on the 268 version 5, because with the crew skills, you can actually get your accuracy to decent numbers. So I find that a lot of the time, rather than working on the accuracy with the equipment piece, which if you see here, gun stabilizer, 20% accuracy. A lot of time, rather than working on accuracy, I'll work on the aim time on like bigger guns. Reinforced ammo rack, again, I wouldn't use it over other equipment pieces, but if you're playing a Super Conqueror or Chieftain, you're getting really annoyed with being ammo rack, it could be the one for you. Reinforced fuel tank for fuel tank durability, again, I wouldn't recommend it, but if you get set on fire a lot, could be good for you. Same with the engine protection. Gun stabilizer for the accuracy, again, this is when you're going to use a lot of vehicles. Advanced armor, which like the crew skill, reduces damage from enemy weapons by 5%. That means in conjunction with the crew skill, you can reduce the damage taken by 10%, which on some heavy tanks could be pretty good. And then Advanced Reload, this is an interesting one that I don't quite get how it works, because from the sounds of it, if I'm in my C62A and I've loaded an APCR round, I can just tap A when I'm fully loaded and swap to a heat round instantly, without reload time. Now, if that is how this works, it's a skill I wouldn't recommend using because there's other crew skills, but that sounds like a skill that's made for artillery, if you ask me. They have a long reload, especially like high tier ones with like T92. You'll have a HE shell load for a medium tank, you see a mouse or a Type 5 in a field, and rather than like try to reload an AP shell for 40 seconds and he might be in cover, instantly reload an AP shell and nail him. So I'm not sure if that's how this skill works, you just instantly swap ammo instantly without the reload. But if it is, that sounds like an artillery thing. Something to note, non-clip ammo, so this doesn't work on auto loaders and probably not on auto reloaders. Just bear that in mind. And then we're going to get to consumables. For example, on this tank, I've got a standard repair kit, a standard fire extinguisher, and premium food. Now, something to note is, the standard repair kit, standard med kit, and standard fire extinguisher all have passive boost, so the standard repair kit has a 10% passive repair time boost. And when you use it, instantly repairs all modules. This is different to before 6.0. Before 6.0, you could repair one module. Now, this does what a premium one used to do, which is repair all modules. But you only get one use, whereas the premium repair kit also repairs all modules. You get a slightly better passive boost of 15% repair time. However, after a 1 minute cooldown time, you can reuse this repair kit. That's something important to know. So, the standard repair kit now does what the premium one did before in terms of its active use of repairing all modules, but you don't get to reuse it, you don't get quite as good passive boost. Same with the med kit. Med kit instantly heal all crew members. That's what the premium med kit used to do before 6.0, but now the standard one does it. Passive boost of 20% chance, minus 20% chance of crew receiving damage, but again, you only get one use, where with the premium one, you get a slightly better passive boost of 25%, and you get infinite uses, but with the 1 minute cooldown. So the only difference between the premium and the standard is the passive boost and the reusability, but they both, in terms of their active use, they all do the same thing. Now, here's the interesting point, and the thing I don't agree with. Fire extinguisher, premium fire extinguisher. Now, again, they both do the same thing, actively, they put out the fire. The standard one has a 20% chance reduction to catch fire, the premium one 25%, so slightly better passive boost, and obviously the premium one is reusable, where standard one isn't. However, something to note is, before Update 6.0, the fire extinguisher, the premium one, was automatic and would automatically activate. Now, they don't. Even if you have a premium fire extinguisher, if you get set on fire, you have to manually activate the fire extinguisher in order to put out the fire, which is quite annoying and actually caught me off guard the first time I got set on fire with it. Because I saw I got set on fire, but I didn't press anything for a few seconds because I was waiting for the game to put it out for me. So, be aware, premium fire extinguisher is not automatic. And then we've got the enhanced fuel boost. Active, if you press the button to activate it, 10% extra horsepower. And the passive boost is a 5% max speed increase and a 10% turret rotation speed. Obviously, there's only the enhanced one, so it's reusable. It's active for 30 seconds, cool on 30 seconds. I wouldn't recommend using this, but I'm sure if you just want to meme around with certain vehicles, you could probably find some pretty interesting uses for this consumable. But I wouldn't recommend it on most competitive builds, but it could be a bit of fun, if I'm honest. Going down to the ammo, you will see you've got your standard round at the top, the premium round in the middle, because you'll see the gold value next to it, and then the high explosive at the bottom. Now, what you'll do, you'll see the armor damage, which is how much alpha it's got, so 320 on the 140. You'll see the penetration at 100 meters and 500 meters, and you'll see how much module damage these shells do, as well as the blast radius of high explosive. Now, you'll see there's a square at the bottom right of the screen where it says auto resupply. I can turn that off. If I don't want the shells to be resupplied, I can turn it on. Also, if you want to make sure you're not spending gold on it, because there was an issue where people were spending gold on ammo and consumables, and I fell victim to that, but Wargaming did refund me, so fair play. When you scroll down, if you look at the bottom left screen, buy and install, back, hide UI, if you scroll down to the premium round, a new up shows up, toggle currency. Now, look at the bottom right where it says auto resupply, 129,000 silver is how much it would cost for all my ammo. If I press toggle currency, now it'll be 240 gold and 33,000 silver to resupply everything. So you want to make sure that you toggle the currency until in the bottom right next to auto resupply there is no gold value. That means you're not paying gold for that ammo. That's how you know you're not doing it. And then just buy and install them. With consumables, instead of pressing triangle, you scroll up to the 3 consumables and you press square. And you scroll across and make sure that as you scroll across it only hits that. If you go down and you see above resupply options, cost per match, 3,200 silver, 25 gold. Scroll across, go up, and now you see cost per match, 30,200, 0 gold. And now you press back. And then, just to make sure that the changes have saved, underneath the consumables, you see auto resupply again, and it only says 13,200 silver, no gold. That's how you know you've done that. Excuse me. Now, as opposed to seeing how stats get changed on a vehicle, what I'm going to do to show you that is, I actually bought a bit of a spoiler here. I bought a new tank yesterday on Deal of the Week. Select it here. I bought the TL1 LPC thing. This is the Stone Cold, but I didn't do WWE thing, so I never got one for free. The thing with the 2-round autoloader. I'm going to fully equip this up live for you guys to show you how it works. That's if I can even afford to. So, if you look at the right-hand side of the screen, you'll see the penetration, the damage, the hit points, the max speed, vision range, and concealment. So, what I want to remember is, if you look, I'm going to press square, and you see at the right side of the screen, you still got the stats. Now, you'll see it says 400 meters base view range. Something else to notice is, if you want the more accurate stats, go to module viewer, and you'll see your horsepower, your top force speed, reverse speed, your rate of fire in rounds a minute, your accuracy, rotation speed on the tracks, on the turret, as well as view range, etc, etc. Now, something to mention is, Wargaming, although they show you better stats now in terms of, like, they actually show you them changing as you put upgrades on, they've removed some basic information. For example, you can no longer see how much gun depression a tank has here, and you can't see aim time, which is quite annoying. But what I want you to remember is, look at the rate of fire, 6.27. What I'm going to do is, I'm going to not back out, press square, go to equipment, I've actually forgotten the reload myself. Again, this is a mess of a video. I'm just doing it on a whim. 6.27. There you go. 6.27. Go to equipment. I can't actually use the gun rammer, so that was a moot point. But either way, if you look at the right side of the screen, 400 meters view range. I forgot that this tank's an autoloader, by the way. That's why I thought I could put a gun rammer on. 400 meters base view range. Advanced optics, 10% view range. So if I activate that, equip it. Now look at the right side of the screen. Instead of 400 meters view, it says 440. So it's actually changed to fit the equipment pace. Now, what I'm going to do is, this accuracy piece I'm going to use, if you remember, the accuracy in the module viewer said 0.40 accuracy. I'm going to equip this module piece, go to module viewer, and you'll see the accuracy is now not changed yet. If I scroll across and back again, sometimes it can take a bit of a thing to show the improvement. It has not actually improved itself yet. However, I would think once I put a commander in there, it will. And in fact, you know what I'm going to do? Let me just pick last equipment piece. I'm going to go with crew performance. And then I'm going to go to commanders. And because it's a medium tank, what I'm going to do is, an American medium tank, my M48 Patton crew will have all the similar crew skills that I want to put on that anyway, because they're kind of like, you know, both American medium tanks. So if I can find my Patton crew. Which I cannot, so you know what I think it is? I believe that this is my Patton crew, and I just forgot to rename it. There's a way I can find out, though. If I do this, go to tier 10. If it says free transfer on here, it does. So yeah, this is my Patton crew. So now I'm going to put that in the TL. Bear in mind, it said 440 meters view range and about 379 meters still concealment or something. Free transfer cost, transfer it. Back out. So from 440 meters view range, I am now up to 466.4. That's taking into account the situational awareness crew scale as well. The still concealment hasn't gone, but once I put camouflage on, it will. And then hopefully, now that I've got the crew in, if I press square and go over to the module viewer, and now look at the accuracy, it said 0.4 before, 0.32, there we go, so now it's changed once you get a commander in. Also, rate of fire's gone up to 6.97, thanks to the rate of fire crew skill and everything. So, once you put a crew in, and on the right side of the screen, you can see the changes. So you saw how my tank went from 400 meters view range to with the coated optics up to 440, and then with a crew in it up to 466. You know what? I have just enough silver left to put some camo on this thing. No, not that. So the still consumer was about 379. I'm just going to do 7 days here because I'm cheap and don't have much silver. But I'm just trying to remember in my head, 379 meters view range. The end of this video has been a mess, I've been waffling on. So if any of you are actually here, congratulations, I can't believe you still are watching this. Now my still consumer's gone from 379 to 367. So, you know, those stats do change. I'm now poor, don't even have any consumables on my tank. I'm going to have to play a lot of Ragnarok games, but, you know, I've got the Ragnarok and I've got a lot of silver boost, so I should be able to make that silver back pretty easy. And I'm quite looking forward to bringing this tank out. I've not actually played it yet, as you can see by the fact I've got no XP, but you can expect videos of this in the future. Or, in fact, let me know, would you like me to do, similar to the Defender replay before, would you like me to do some live commentary games in this for you? Let me know. So if you're still here, thank you for watching. Again, I apologize for no gameplay today, and also, at the very least, give me a bit of credit. As shit as this video is, I have put in the description a timestamp of each bit, talking about the equipment, talking about the consumables, and talking about the commanders. So, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I know it was a bit of a mess. As I said, I don't believe I'm the most qualified person to teach people how these things work, but I hope you learned something this video. So thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you all in the next one.